Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and day to show up for our little webinar on our new DBA program that we have here at the School of Management at the University of Michigan-Flint. My name is George White. Very hard. I'm still trying to get used to the fact that it's no longer summer, at least here in the U.S., and that fall has already began. I don't feel like I ever had a summer. So at least we have football season. So I can look forward to that anyway. But anyway, welcome and thank you again for taking the time out of your schedule to listen to me and meet with us. And what I will do is basically go through a simple PowerPoint presentation about our program with some of the basics in it, what we're looking for, the curriculum, how to apply, and then that'll probably take me about 30 minutes. I usually run over, but I'll have Anna. Anna's supposed to stop me after about 30 minutes. And then pretty much will be open for questions because a lot of this stuff is already on our webpage. So this is an opportunity for you to ask any type of questions that you might have to me directly. So without any further ado, again, my name is George White. I'm a professor of strategic management here at the University of Michigan-Flint. I basically, I'm the new director. We've been up and running for about a year. I'll talk about the history of the program in just a second. Michigan-Flint is, for those of you that aren't familiar with the University of Michigan, we're not really a system. We're really a family of campuses. There are 3 campuses. You have Michigan Ann Arbor, which is the main, flagship campus, and then it has 2 regional campuses. Michigan Dearborn and Michigan-Flint, and we're at Flint. We're essentially like a subsidiary of what I call the mothership, Michigan Ann Arbor. So very closely aligned, have the M above our name, and it's a really, really good university to be part of. So I'm going to go through a number of basics about our program, the history of our program, what is a DBA, how is a DBA different from a PhD, for example, why would you might possibly be interested in pursuing a DBA, and what makes it unique, what makes our program unique from other programs that are out there, because if you're doing your research, there's a proliferation of DBA programs now. So why is our program potentially of value to you and a good fit? And then I'll go through some of the curriculum and basic admissions requirements and timelines and those sort of things. And we'll leave the back half of the 1 hour open for any questions you might have for me or for Anna with regard to our program. So the history of the program goes back probably about 10 years now. I wasn't even here. I mean, my story is straight out of my PhD program. I graduated from UT El Paso. I took a job at Michigan-Flint back in 2008, spent a few years here, then left and moved to Old Dominion University in Norfolk, where I taught in the doctoral program there for about 7 years, made tenure there, was doing well, was training PhD students in strategy and international business. But I had very good relations. I left here on good terms. I had a very good relationship with the university, and I had a lot of co-authors in the faculty here. And so they finally, what basically happened was the individual that I helped hire into the school to teach strategic management left. There was an opening, and they made me an offer that was very difficult for me to refuse. And I'm an adopted Michigander. My daughter was born right here in Grand Blanc, Michigan, and my wife immigrated from Asia into Detroit. So we have a lot of roots in Michigan, and so we came back. But during that time when I was at Virginia, there was a professor by the name of Tom Hemphill who put together a committee looking at ways to develop a doctoral program for our school. Our campus, Michigan-Flint, is it's a smaller campus than Ann Arbor. Ann Arbor has like 50,000 students. I think we're at about 6 or 7, but we've always been very, very good at part-time online professional programs. If you go look at the web page, the university website, you'll see health sciences, nursing, and then I believe our new College of Technology and innovation is starting a PhD program. We've always been very good in this particular space. And our school has had a very successful MBA program, a part-time online MBA program, which we used to call Net Plus. Now it's sort of changed a little bit since COVID. And so the committee, they actually invited me on the committee, even though I wasn't even a faculty member here at the time. I was still at Old Dominion, was trying to figure out a way to sort of fit in this space where we're very effective at sort of our niche, our competitive advantage, and to develop a doctoral program. So when I got on campus, I've been here about 7 years now. I returned in 2017. We were still trying to figure out what to do, but the committee sort of shelved the idea of starting a doctorate program. They basically gave up on it. And with my experience, having been involved in the PhD program at Old Dominion, and I'm also a visiting faculty member at a number of doctoral programs, particularly in Asia, I basically didn't ever let the idea go. So I went and talked to the dean and sort of rekindled the idea of possibly creating a doctoral program here. The programs went through a number of iterations, from sort of a brick and mortar face-to-face program to a hybrid program where we're online and then in the seats. At one point we were I was negotiating with actually a friend of mine over in the United Kingdom to develop a joint partnership where it would be a joint doctoral program. That didn't work out. And all that basically led to where we are today, where we're running our own program, which is using an online platform. So also, I went through the process of pushing the program through approval at our school, university, and Arbor, because they had to sign off on it. University of Michigan Board of Regents, various state accreditation agencies, and ultimately AACSB, which I'll talk about a little bit more later. AACSB is our accreditation agency that monitors basically effectiveness in schools, and it's a very prestigious sort of badge of approval to receive for any type of business related program. So now we're basically in our second year. We had our first cohort come in this past year, and we just have brought in our second cohort, which are just now starting their classes, their seminars. And I'm talking to you guys about any potential opportunity that you might be interested in for coming in 2025. I'm getting all my years mixed up. I'm starting to get old. Okay, so what is a DBA? A DBA is not a PhD. So like I have a PhD. When I started my PhD program, I was actually living in China as a visiting professor of law at the time. I have 2 law degrees and was consulting over in China. I went over in China right after they joined the WTO, and there were lots of opportunities for business consulting. And I wasn't even thinking about any type of doctorate until one of my former professors suggested I apply. And so I ended up in a PhD program here in the US. In a PhD program, typically it's 4 or 5 years. They're training you to be an academic, and you basically have to quit everything that you're doing, move on campus, take classes full-time, be a full-time student, do research, maybe teach some classes. It depends on the program. And you have to basically put your entire life on hold. A DBA program is a little different, and it's more practitioner focused. You're still getting the research. You're still learning how to be a researcher. You're still going to learn the academic side of things, but they're also the typical DBA program is going to be a lot more applied and practitioner focused. So they're really sort of different demographics. They're different. The DBA and the PhD really have different purposes. But I think what makes the DBA very attractive, in my opinion, is that if you want to stay in practice, you can go through our program and you'll develop tools and particular skills that will help you improve what you're doing in practice. If you want to move into the academic sector, you can do that as well. It's a little bit more diverse and practical in nature and applied. And I think that is a very attractive function of a DBA these days, but they're completely different things. Our program is not for anybody that wants to come to the US or, for example, be a full-time student. That's not what we are. We're a part-time program. We're completely online. A PhD program is probably going to be more suited for somebody that wants to do that and like go into academia full-time. You can do that with the DBA, but there's a few extra hurdles you would have to go through to really make that, to be efficient in being able to do that. So why DBA? Our program, we spent a lot of time, again, probably that 8 years, actually, 7 to 8 years developing our program. We wanted to make sure we offer value and to really develop an identity that will be effective in offering value for students that are entering our program. Now, in general, a DBA program is there for you to find ways to develop your critical thinking, methodological skill sets, learn theory that you can then use to analyze in evidence-based decision making. Okay, so we offer very intensive training in methodology, in application of theory, and in critical thinking, research, and writing. I mean, that's what a doctorate program basically is. So a lot of this has to do with learning how to more effectively communicate as a researcher, being able to analyze information as a researcher, and then apply that in an effective way. I think a lot of students that initially came into our program and that query our program think it's just going to be another MBA or master's level degree where you sit around, you listen to lectures, you take exams and turn in stuff. And that's not what our program is. And I would argue any quality doctoral program is not going to have that element. I mean, a doctorate is about you being trained to conduct research and to develop as a researcher, basically. So another aspect of a DBA, which I think is very important, is that it's theory to practice. So you're going to be learning theory and methodology in our program that hopefully you're going to be able to apply in practice and where it's action-based in nature. So say you're a consultant or you want to go into consulting, I could see a lot of value in a DBA because you're going to learn all these tools and effective ways to conduct research. It will help you be much more efficient and impactful as a consultant in your practice. The same if you're an executive or senior manager at a company as well. And then again, you can also, if you want to teach, these will obviously be good skills you'll have to conduct research. So, it's about professional development, personal development, and also for career improvement. I mean, I think that, I teach, a matter of fact, right after I get off this webinar, I've got to go and teach an MBA class. And since COVID, even before COVID, but since COVID, this has really been, MBAs have really proliferated and various master's degrees. And they just don't hold the value, in my opinion. I mean, I have an MBA, and I worked on my MBA when I was in my PhD program, and I thought it was pretty easy compared to the PhD. I mean, the PhD was very serious work, and MBA again is just really just taking classes, doing projects, and stuff like that. But the problem is, universities are not really gaining, undergraduate education is just not profitable at the end of the day for universities anymore. And universities have to survive, they have to be able to be sustainable at the end of the day. So there's been a tremendous proliferation for MBAs and other master's level degrees. And I mean, you can just go take a look. I mean, they're everywhere. And the value of the MBA just isn't where it was, say, even 5 years ago, in my opinion. Universities have even started to dumb down their MBAs, where instead of being 2 to 3 years or like 1 year. And I mean, it's not like the old days where when you went through an MBA or other master's programs, they were very rigorous, difficult, and challenging, and not everybody was getting them. It was relatively difficult to get into the programs. I don't really think it's as hard as it used to be these days to be able to do that. So, if you're looking to enhance your career perspectives, for example, I mean, if I didn't have a PhD and I was out in the workforce, I'd probably be strategy consulting somewhere. A DBA would definitely be something I'd be very carefully looking at, because it will not only sort of separate you, differentiate you from the rest of the individuals in the industry sort of operating in the same space you are, but it gives you a lot of very valuable tools that you're not going to pick up at the master's level. So, and I know in our program, we're extremely rigorous and the students are challenged. They're challenged, and that's what we want. So I think there's a lot of value in DBAs these days that individuals can really utilize moving forward, whether it's in their career in practice or even going into academia. Lastly, when you graduate from our program, you'll be part of the University of Michigan Alumni Network, and that is one of the largest networks in the world, very powerful network. And because we're cohort based, you'll be going through all your seminars together. So for example, we just brought in a new cohort and they'll be taking all their seminars together. And I know the first group that we brought in last year, they've developed very strong friendships. They have all these different apps that they're constantly communicating with each other on, even though they don't necessarily get to see each other like in class face to face. I think they've been able to use the virtual space very effectively. And I mean, matter of fact, I just met one of them in Chicago a few weeks ago. We met up at a conference and had lunch, and Melody Hill, some of you might have actually talked to her. She's one of our ambassadors. And it was very interesting to see how they've developed this bonding, this friendship in the cohort they're going through with. And we bring in individuals from various backgrounds, various educational backgrounds, professional backgrounds. And so I think they're able to feed off of that quite a bit. But at the end of the day, I think a DBA, if you're really thinking about one, whether it's with us or somebody else, I think you will get your return on that investment if you take it seriously and you're provided with really good skill sets and tools out of that program. I mean, I think it's a very good investment to make for your future. So our program is relatively unique. We sort of have a niche strategy when it comes to our program. Again, our program was developed for working professionals. We're completely online, okay? It's part-time and completely online. And then we have monthly residencies. So once a month on a Saturday, our students will meet up via Zoom and have residencies. And they'll typically have 4 of those per semester, because our semesters usually run about 4 months in length. So it'll be 1 residency on a Saturday via Zoom once a month. And we wanted to make sure that we used the online platform and Zoom to do this, because we want to try to be global. Right now, I would say most of we do have a few students from overseas. We have a student from Taiwan, for example, but we really like to be global. And I think one of the positive nature of how we have established the structure of a program is that we can do that. If somebody from Brazil or China or Europe wants to join our program, they can do that. And there's time difference issues, but at the end of the day, if we can get past that, it's easy for them to take classes with us, because we're completely online. We're very rigorous and selective. We typically have small cohorts. Our first cohort was 13. This year we brought in a larger cohort. But last year we had close to 150 applications for 15 seats in our program. And they were very high quality applications. So we brought in a few more extra students, because it was kind of hard to refuse some of the really good applicants that we had coming in. Our program is focused on strategy. So we're not a general business administration program. There's plenty of those out there. We're not that type of program. We are focused on business strategy of the firm, for firm performance, anything related to strategy, which strategy of the firm is very eclectic. You got marketing, finance, accounting, operations, supply chain, corporate social responsibility, non-market strategy, strategic management, HR management, et cetera. It's a very broad area, but at the end of the day, our program's focus is on strategy of the firm. All of our faculty are focused on that in our program. All the seminars are geared towards strategy of the firm, business strategy. And so one of the issues we do have when we bring in students, some of them don't fully understand that we're a strategy program. And to be honest, they usually end up leaving because it doesn't fit what they're wanting to do. So please do go take a look at our webpage very carefully. If you're really interested in us, you can always talk to Anna or myself about this. But we have faculty in marketing strategy, supply chain strategy, strategic management, global strategy that all teach in the program. So that brings me to point 4. We have, I think what really is a tremendous value to our program is that every single faculty member that is teaching in our program is, first of all, they have a PhD, okay? But secondly, they're thought leaders in their particular area. Every one of my faculty that are teaching in my program are experts in the subject matter that they are teaching in their seminar. And I don't think you're going to see that in a lot of other programs, actually. For example, with myself, I teach global strategy. I'm a well-known scholar in the area of global strategy in the world. I travel all over the world, give talks. I'm a visiting faculty at a university in the Philippines and in Thailand. I'm an editor of several very high-level prestigious journals, international business journals. And that's my focus, and that's a seminar that I teach. And pretty much, I would say it's the same for just about every one of our faculty that are teaching in the program, even with methodology, with your methods courses like quantitative and qualitative. I mean, our faculty teaching those classes are very high-level scholars in that area, and that's their expertise. So I think we offer very good value when it comes to the quality of faculty and thought leaders in our program that are teaching these particular seminars. Also, when you come into our program, we will partner you up with an advisor and a mentor. Okay, now, like for example, if you're going into the PhD program, you would have this, right? You would have a professor that would be your mentor, an advisor, basically. In our program, we basically do the same thing. Matter of fact, right now, I'm in the process of partnering the cohort that we just brought in with faculty so that they have somebody there to advise them, like if they have any questions about the program, if they're struggling with one of their classes, if they want to do research or just talk, go out to lunch or whatever, they will have their advisor there that will be willing to help them and to interact with them. And then the hope is this relationship will develop organically and their advisor will turn into being the chair of their dissertation when they move into the third year of our program, into the dissertation stage. And that's typically what happens like in a PhD program as well. So I think that's a very important aspect of our program. And even though we have a very small faculty, we're trying to make that work so that the students feel like they have somebody to go to on the faculty and work with if they would like to. Again, our program is all about training thought leaders in practice. We're a scholar practitioner model, theory to practice model. So pretty much all of your seminars should have a component of application to real world activities. For example, in my seminar, I have the students write an op-ed piece. So they also write an academically oriented paper, but they write an op-ed piece, just a short little like 500 word, 1,000 word piece that they could possibly publish in the Wall Street Journal or Business Week or wherever. And that's completely applied. It's dealing with a real world issue that they have found that they would like to try to offer some type of resolution to, basically. So that is, again, another aspect of a DBA program, and we're very much set up for trying to find ways to solve problems that are occurring with firms operating in industry today. So I think, and I like that as well, because typically I've been on more the academic side. So doing this type of stuff when I'm teaching the students is refreshing for me because it helps me better understand and apply some of the theories and ideas I have to what problems firms are having out there today. Lastly, we're AACSB accredited. We're the very first and only AACSB accredited DBA program in the state of Michigan. AACSB is the hallmark of accreditation in higher education. And I mean, it's a very difficult process to get approval from AACSB, but and what that means is that you have met certain hallmarks and standards with regard to quality of faculty, quality of curriculum, and standards relating to learning outcomes. And I think only 1%, it's either 1 or 2% of business schools in the world have AACSB accreditation. We're the first and only one so far in the state of Michigan for the DBA space anyhow. So we're very proud of that. And we've worked very hard to get to that point based on how we've developed the program. So here's just a snapshot. This is straight off of our webpage. So you can look at our webpage and find this information as well. We're a 3-year program. The first 2 years, you're taking seminars pretty much year round. You would have 2 seminars in your first fall semester, actually 3, because there's a very short, more of an orientation seminar that lasts about 5 or 6 weeks called Becoming an Applied Researcher. I teach that seminar. And matter of fact, I'll start teaching it next week. I'm allowing the students to sort of ease in a little bit, and then I'll start teaching that next week. But it's basically 2 seminars a semester for fall and winter. And then we have 2 summer sessions, and it'd be 1 seminar for each summer session. You would do this for 2 years. And then after the end of your second year, you would have a seminar to develop your dissertation proposal. Now, a dissertation for us is basically a research project, a research paper. We call it a dissertation, but it's not like what you would have in a traditional PhD program where you basically have to either write a book or do like a 3-paper dissertation, like 200 or 300-page dissertation. For us, it's 1 project, 1 research paper. It's still very rigorous. We still have very high expectations, but it's much more manageable than the 200 or 300-page book that you might have in a lot of programs, and you'll have a year to do that basically. So that's our timeline for the dissertation. So 2 years of seminars, and then 1 year for your dissertation, and then you're done. You graduate.
George, you're about 30 minutes in.
Okay, I'm almost done. Who are we looking for? Basically, we have 3 different demographics that we're primarily interested in: mid-level to upper-level managers and executives, wishing to upgrade their skill sets to be more effective thought leaders in practice. We have a lot of managers, senior managers, and executives in our program. Many of them are just learning new skills that they want to apply to their practice. And then some also want to maybe become adjunct or part-time lecturers at various colleges or universities. We fill that role. Secondly, I think we are a very effective program for anybody that's a consultant or analyst. We do have some consultants in our program as well. And I think that we have one consultant that just got back from Zimbabwe. They were doing a consulting project in Zimbabwe, and she owns her own consulting firm in Detroit. And I think she's done quite well in our program and has found a lot of what she's learning in the various seminars to be very effective for her in her practice. And then college lectures. If you would like to either teach part-time or maybe move into teaching full-time, we can do that. Now, we are not a PhD program, so if you graduate from here, you're probably not going to have an opportunity to Harvard or Yale or somewhere like that. But there are thousands of colleges and universities in the U.S. that need full-time faculty members, tenure-track faculty members, particularly in strategy. Most schools that want to be AACSB approved or are AACSB approved have strategy courses as their capstone classes. And many of you that have MBAs probably have had to take one of those. And so their strategy is a very good field to be in if you're looking for an academic position, because there's high demand and low supply. And so we would definitely, if you graduated with the DBA from our program, there would be opportunities for you to do that. A lot of that hinges on your research, but there would be opportunities. With that being said, we have a very stringent policy of you need to have at least 10 years of experience. Okay, so 10 years of work experience with at least 5 years at mid-level or higher. Okay, now if you're a lecturer at a college, that would be fine. We've looked at military service as well, but traditionally, we have basically what happens. We get an application that goes into a system at our university. Then it comes to me. And then I send it over to the DBA committee, and they make decisions based off of this. And one of based off of your CV, off of your letter, you'll be writing on, your letter of purpose and transcripts, etc. But one of the really stringent aspects and requirements for our program is that 10 years of experience with at least 5 years at mid-level or higher, because we want to be able to bring individuals in that are going to be able to understand some of the applications and processes of theory and methodology that we're training them for. Also, pretty much we no longer accept students that do not have a master's degree. We try, so 0.3 here is not even, it's moot. We don't even do it anymore. We tried this out. We brought a CEO into our program last year, and they lasted, I think, a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. They didn't have a master's degree, so they didn't get very far. So now I'm no longer going to accept anybody that does not have some type of master's. Now, it doesn't have to be a business degree, okay? It doesn't have to be an MBA, for example. When we brought in, we have a student that's got a law degree that's in our program. We're pretty flexible with that, but we do want some type of master's level degree. And it doesn't have to be from an AACSB institution either. The tuition for our program is $80,000. That we have it's 49 credit hours to graduate from our program. So that ends up being roughly about $1,633. I think the university did require me to increase this by like $1 or something like that this year, because universities keep raising their tuition rates. So we negotiated, and I think it's an application fee or something like that, but it's $80,000. I think for an AACSB accredited program, we're pretty much the cheapest program in the United States. I do know one other program that's a little cheaper that I just found out about. I was sort of sad about that because I was always bragging about us being the cheapest AACSB accredited program in the country. But other than that, most AACSB accredited DBA programs are over $100,000. There's one major Big Ten university that just started a DBA program. They're charging $130,000. I actually know somebody that's in that program. It's a former student of mine. And these universities will get that because there's tremendous demand for DBAs right now. When we started developing our program, one of the hallmarks of our school and university is that we want to be cost effective for students. Okay, so we've always been very sensitive to that. We could actually raise our tuition rate quite a bit, and we will still have tremendous demand, but we've been keeping it at $80,000 because we want to be accessible and fair when it comes to tuition cost. So I think that our program is a very good deal, a very good bang for the buck, because you're either going to pay a lot more for other AACSB accredited programs that are maybe not even focused like us, or just like general business. And if that's what you want, that's fantastic. And then there's a lot of other programs out there you're going to pay a lot less for, but at the end of the day, you're going to pay for what you get. Okay. Hannah and I receive queries all the time from individuals wanting to transfer out of non-AACSB accredited programs for various reasons. And we usually, there's big demand for transferring in our program from those other programs for various reasons. Okay. But quality is usually one of them. With our program, you know exactly who's going to be teaching you. We're pretty transparent about what our expectations are, and we're rigorous. We're a very rigorous program because when you graduate, we want you to have received certain types of skills and understanding of theories, methodology, how to conduct research, writing effectively. And, that's not for everybody. If you want to pay for your degree, then, and that's it, we're probably not the right program for that, and there's a lot of people out there who just want to pay for their degree and be done with it. And we had a number of students actually leave us last year because they did not understand the rigor of our program. On one hand, we want to be accessible, we want to be fair, and we definitely, when we bring somebody in, we want them to do well, no doubt about it. But on the other hand, we have certain standards that are attached to the University of Michigan brand and name, and that goes along with expectations. So also one thing I forgot, we're an online program, so I don't think that you can get an F1 visa with us. I don't think that's possible because we do not have in the seats classes. We're completely online. So that would probably be, the F1 visa is probably going to be more for a traditional PhD program than a program like ours anyhow. Application deadlines. Our early application deadline is this November 1st. So we're accepting applications right now. We already got them rolling in, so if you're interested in hearing from us by Christmas or by January 1st, typically what will happen, we do not look at applications until after the November 1st deadline. So what will happen is after November 1st, I'll go into the system, collect all the applications, send them over to, we have a DBA committee that's made up of doctoral faculty that help set policy and review applications and so forth. And we will, after November 1st, go through the applications and make decisions. So by early December, if you've applied to our program, you should know whether or not you've been accepted into it. Anna and I are always here to, if you have questions or like to chat with us, that'd be fine. But typically that's a process. It usually takes us a good month to go through them because we are very methodical and careful about who we are selecting to come in our program, because we want to be successful in bringing in the right applicants. And we want you to be successful coming into our program as well. So other programs, typically the non-AACSB accredited programs, generally they're a little bit more flexible with their admissions, but we're a small program and we're really looking for the right fit so that we're successful and you're successful going through our program. Then after that point, any application that comes in after November 1st, it will be considered during the normal application process, which will be, we will look at those applicants after April. So again, it takes us about a month to go through these. So probably beginning of May, for anybody that's applied after November 1st, and they're, if you apply, make sure your application's complete. If it's not complete, we can't review your file. So only the files that are complete will be reviewed at November 1st. Anything after November 1st will be reviewed after April 1st of next year. So that's a pretty substantial period of time. But again, it's not a rolling, we used to do a rolling application process, but we don't do that anymore because quite honestly, it just was sort of crazy. We're trying to make things a little bit more certain for you, to where you know exactly when you're going to hear from us. At the same time, it helps us organize everything a little bit more effectively. So that's it. If you apply and you're accepted in our program, we require a $2,000 deposit, non-refundable deposit, to reserve a seat in our program. I think most DBA programs do that these days. We definitely do that because we only have so many seats, and quite honestly, there needs to be some skin in the game. If you accept our offer, we need to make sure you're going to stay in our program, because that's a seat that could go to somebody else if if you left. So $2,000 non-refundable deposit, which goes towards your tuition in our program, is required if you accept a seat in our program. Well, I guess that's about all. Did I miss anything? No, I don't think so. I think I covered everything that I usually cover. Does anybody have any questions? Or Anna, have you received any questions?
Yeah, I have two, I have a few questions on the chat, so, hang on. How does UM-Flint ensure in terms of delivery of the program to the students if the program is held fully online? How to tackle the problem of communication?
Can you repeat that?
It says, how does UM-Flint ensure in terms of delivery of the program to the students if the program is held fully online? How to tackle the problem of communication?
Well, we haven't really had any problems with, I mean, we're experts with online communication. Our most successful programs are online, and our DBA program is just following what our MBA and undergraduate programs are doing. We use Canvas for online execution and delivery of our classes. And I mean, Canvas has everything. I mean, Zoom, all sorts of delivery. I mean, it's a very big tool. It has all sorts of application. Also, I mean, we'll be in communication via email, and I mean, I don't think you're going to find that to be a problem at all. I mean, we're pretty effective with that, and we got a very motivated group of faculty. So it's not like that you're going to be. It's not like you're going to be in a class where we're just going to sort of say, here, you know. No, matter of fact, it's the complete opposite. And I think some individuals want to just be in a class where they're just sort of, can do what they want. Our program's very much hands-on. It's rigorous. There's going to be constant communication. I communicate with my students, even my undergrads and MBAs, I mean, regularly. Okay. I mean, when regularly, I mean almost daily. All right. If not every other day. And it's pretty much the same with our program. The faculty teaching you are very engaged. And I think that's a good aspect of what we're doing here. I don't think you're ever going to feel alone. If there's any technical problems, we have the Office of Extended Learning, NIT, two massive groups, units at our school that are very effective in helping resolve any issues that you might have with that. So don't know if I answered your question, but in general, I think what you're saying, you're not, there's going to be lots of communication. That's not going to be a problem. In a doctoral program, a good doctoral program, you're not going to have issues with communication. You're probably going to want the professor to probably leave you alone actually a little bit, but this is doctoral studies, it's intense. So what's the next question, Anna?
If you are in a management role but not considered a manager, would this be an issue for admissions requirements?
I mean, that is context specific. I don't know. You don't have to be a manager per se, but you have to have, I see where they're going with this. You have to be at least mid-level in your organization, okay? And in some type of leadership, management, it could be executive. You could be, I mean, we have an analyst, or for example, we have an analyst that are in our program that are senior analysts. So technically they're not managers, but they've been in their role. They've sort of moved up the ranks in their position over time. And I think that's perfectly acceptable. I mean, this is sort of an ad hoc one-on-one situation that's very context specific. And what you can do, just send me, gowhite@umich.edu, GOWHITE@umich.edu, or Anna an email with your CV, and we can take a quick look at it. We do that all the time to see if you meet basic requirements for us. So feel free to send us your CV. And if you want to give us some detail on it, just do that. And, I'll be very happy to speak with you about that.
Well, Milana, if you want to go, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much. I understand that the program has a heavy emphasis on strategy, and I'm just wondering, if there is an equal amount of emphasis on negotiations concepts, if this were to be my, area of interest for research.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have I mean, actually, I've published quite a bit in conflict resolution and negotiations, so if you go look at my Google Scholar page, you will see that that's how I started in law school, for example. And I've published several business articles on that. I mean, I'm not a negotiation guru or scholar like that, but we don't have a seminar in negotiations, but negotiations is a fundamental basis for strategic decision making. I mean,
Yeah.
like contracting, for example. We don't have a seminar on contracting, but contracts are at the very basis for pretty much any type of business transaction and activity. That would be, yeah, sure. I mean, that would be easy, I think. There is something called strategic negotiation, which there are faculty out there that specialize in this. And I mean, yeah, I don't think that negotiations would be fine. The issue would be we're at the firm level. Okay. So if you're wanting to look at more micro-oriented negotiations from the OB/HR perspective, you could still do that, but again, it would need to be strategy in general. I mean, I'm not going to let anybody finish. Nobody, when you start your dissertation, you have to fill out paperwork and go through a process to receive permission to do your dissertation on whatever subject it is. This is pretty standard at most institutions, and what we'll be looking for is that your topic is within the broad realm of strategy. I mean, strategy is very eclectic. Anything dealing with firm performance, competitive advantage, and negotiation would definitely be in there. I mean, that's a core element of just business activity in general. So, and then with your classes, they're all going to be sort of focused on strategy. But yeah, I graduated from my PhD working on a lot of conflict resolution and negotiation related research. And I was a IB strategy student. So you can do it, but be a little tricky.
That's great to hear. Thank you very much.
Sure.
What's the faculty to student ratio?
It just depends on the cohort. We had 13 last year, so it's 1 to 13. This year we brought in 30. Now, by the end of the year, we won't have 30. It'll probably be like 20 or something like that because for various reasons, it just depends, but it's a small group. I mean, a lot of DBA programs out there have like over 50 students a year in them, So it just depends. I mean, we could receive 300 applications and we accept 10 of those, or we could receive 50 applications and we accept 20 or 30 of them. It depends on the quality of the applications. We don't have a quota. Our program was built on a ceiling of 15 students. That was max. We brought more in this year because we had some really, really good applications. I just couldn't turn down some of the applications. But typically we have the cap is 15. We need at least 6 or 7 to come in a year. The cap was 15, but we'll go over there are just some really, really good applications. So it just is going to vary and depend, but we do need to keep we're small, we're very small faculty, and our goal is to keep the seminars small so that we can get a lot of one-on-one interaction in our program.
Thank you. Fantastic. That was my question.
Thank you.
What is the time commitment in terms of number of hours per week?
All right. That is just going to depend, You'll have, like in the normal academic year, the fall, what we call the winter semester, other schools might call it the spring semester. We call it the winter because it's still cold here in like March and April, right? You'll have 2 seminars. I mean, it's really what you want to get out of the program. I mean, you're going to have to finish your classes. All the seminars are project-based, okay? So again, if you're looking for a program where you just are spoon-fed and somebody, you have a faculty member just lecturing and so forth. I mean, that's really MBA stuff. That's not that's not a doctorate program, first of all. But second of all, that's not us. We are project based. So you're going to be working on projects in basically all of your seminars. Now, time commitment. I mean, when I was a PhD student full time, I was up on Friday nights working. I was up on Saturday nights working. I was doing work all weekend. That includes during the week. I worked all the time, okay? But I wanted to be successful. I was the very first graduate out of my program. That was me, okay? I had other friends in my PhD program that were, out partying and stuff like that, and they did fine too, okay? It's a serious time commitment. I can't put a number on it, but it's a very serious time commitment. And to be very honest, if you aren't willing to invest substantial time into the program, even though we're a part-time online program, you're probably gonna wash out after the first semester. I mean, this happened last year with us. We started with 21, now we have 13, okay? This year we've got 30. We'll probably be in the 20s in a few weeks because a lot of students don't understand the time commitment that it takes to get a doctorate. And if they don't want to be in a rigorous program, there's other programs out there. We're not the right program for you, So, I mean, I think it's manageable though, but then the first year, there's a learning curve as well. First semester, first year, you have no idea what you're doing. You're learning all this new methodology, these theories. We're trying to train you to think like a scholar. So we're training you for that. You're reading these academic articles that are, very different from anything you've ever read before. There's a learning curve, but after your first year, it'll become much easier for you. And this is normal. It's any good doctoral program. That's going to be sort of the process. The first year is always sort of the tough year. And then you sort of figure things out and everything becomes easier. So I don't know about the time commitment, but it's a serious one, and it's year round. I mean, you don't get a break with us because we want to make sure you get through the program within a reasonable time. If you would like to talk with me over the phone about this a little bit more, then we can do that, but it's just going to vary. Some students are really good, really quick. I have students that are we had a student I brought in that's a local from the Flint area. Honestly, I almost didn't accept him into the program. He's been excellent. He's been eating it up. And I've had other students that we brought in that I thought were going to be really good in our program, and they quit, It's not because we're trying to kill you or anything or be really hard, but it's just, I think a lot of individuals that come into a doctoral program don't understand what a doctoral program is, don't understand the process or expectations. In the first semester, the first year, it's going to be difficult because you're learning how to do all these things you've probably never done before, But after that, it'll start to ease up and become a little easier over time. And we've all been through this, and that's a normal cycle of a doctoral student. But a considerable time, I mean, it's a serious commitment that you're making to our program.
Next question is, I'm a current tenure track faculty member up at the road at Delta College. My goal is to stay in academia. Is the program right for me, or would I even be eligible for
Yeah,
admission?
apply. We'd love to have you. One of the demographics, we have a second-year student right now. His name's Reed Moeller. He's at South Dakota State University, and he's done fantastic. I mean, he understands. The reason why is he was a lecturer at South Dakota State University, and he was a full-time lecturer, teaching like 5 classes a semester. He was teaching strategic management, which is what, we're strategy. And he came into our program and has done very well, but it's because he sort of understands academia, I think that's a big hurdle. We have a lot of individuals that have applied that don't understand, the language, the language of our field, the expectations, and also you're coming in for the right reasons, I think. So no, I mean, we definitely would entertain, if you're a lecturer, tenure track, even if you're just adjuncting somewhere, these are things I look for because I think it's, it's a good fit. And then I think it's going to be a little bit easier for you to move through the program, So yeah, absolutely.
How does U of M Flint differ from U of M main campus? Is it considered graduating from U of M?
Yeah, now we're not Michigan Ann Arbor, okay? We're Michigan Flint. Michigan Ann Arbor is one of the top public universities in the world. I think it's considered one of the public Ivies, right? We are part of their family, but we are not Michigan Ann Arbor, okay? We're Michigan Flint. With that being said, we are a great institution all into our own. We're nationally ranked. And when you graduate, you will have the big M. You're graduating from University of Michigan. You're just at Flint, okay? You're not at Ann Arbor. I mean, it would be like I graduated with my PhD from University of Texas at El Paso, okay? I'm very proud of that. I had a wonderful time there, was trained very well. If I went around saying I graduated from University of Texas, where do you think I graduate from? Okay, that is called harping. In legal terms, it's called harping, which comes from used car sales, which means somebody's not telling you the complete truth, and it's misrepresentation. But at the end of the day, I mean, you're graduating from University of Michigan, you're just at Flint. When you graduate, I think on your diploma, I don't know if it says Flint on there somewhere, but in fine print, you graduated in the same alumni pool. It's sort of an odd, to be honest, it's an odd system, that we have, but we're not Ann Arbor. Ann Arbor, by the way, has one of the top strategy programs, PhD programs in strategy in the world, all right? We're hoping they have one of the top DBA programs in the world right now as well. I think hopefully we'll get there someday, but I think we're doing okay. We're different campuses. So if you graduate from here, you'd be graduating from Michigan Flint, but you're still part of the University of Michigan. And by the way, I still get confused with all this, even though I've been part of the institution for a long period of time.
I'm in active duty and will be retiring from the Marine Corps this year. How does this stack against being competitive in the program? I am a senior enlisted Marine.
Yeah, we do get a lot of queries from military, and we welcome military, veterans and active military. And we get a lot of active military. You would need to have been in some type of leadership role. If you're not an officer, that would be a challenge. Although I think we just had a query. I'm not very familiar with how they do the military ranks, like where you're enlisted. Oh, a non-commissioned officer, I think is what it was. And I looked into that. That would be acceptable. But I mean, to be an executive in the military, I mean, you would have to be at officer ranks or whatnot. You can always query Anna, and then we can send your CV over to the DBA committee, and they can take a look at it. And I can let you know what they basically have to say, quite honestly. It's, again, a case-by-case basis when it comes to this type of information related to number of years of experience.
Besides the typical financial aid options, are there any scholarships offerings available?
Not right now, no. I mean, graduate programs does have scholarships. And if you applied for them, you would likely get one or even more, but they're not very big, Our program currently does not have any scholarships. I'm hoping when you guys enter our program and graduate and you're making the big bucks, you can endow scholarships for us. So then in the future, we can help with those costs. But right now we don't have that. So I'm sorry to say, but graduate programs does have some scholarships. And if you applied, you'd very likely receive something, but it's not going to be like a massive amount of money or anything like that. So I do apologize. It is something that I'm working on, hoping in the future we can offer more of.
Oh, that's the last question on the chat.
That's it?
Yep.
Anybody else?
Yeah, real quickly, George, what's the split right now between, and maybe I missed this, split between academia and practitioners in terms of your first couple of cohorts?
Very few academics. We had one last year. There was a full-time lecturer. Reed Muller is his name. He's doing very well in our program. This year, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'd have to go back and take a look. We might have a few, but it's almost all practitioners, senior executives, a lot of analysts, consultants in our program. But it's a pretty broad, we got lawyers, we got healthcare administrators, executives in all different types of industries. You know, we have a gentleman that is in our program that just it's in the new cohort that owns a company out of Wisconsin that deals with construction and does a lot of work in the Middle East. And so like he wants to work on global strategy type issues. And, you know, we have a lot of very high level executives that are actually in our program. But it's a diverse group, and I think will continue to be more diverse. We're hoping to broaden and become more global as well. But mostly executive senior managers. We have a lot of consultants and analysts. It's a pretty eclectic group, you know. Very few full-time, although we do have some, like Melody, if any of you have talked to Melody Hills, who's one of our ambassadors, okay? She's in the first cohort. She's an executive, a very high level executive. She flies all over the world all the time. And because she loves our program so much, she wants to go into academia full time when she graduates. So we're going to help her do that, quite honestly. So it's a pretty good mix, but mostly executives from various industries. Oh, is that it?
A quick
Very
question.
quiet all of a sudden.
I think I heard someone.
All right, I was just gonna ask, so if you're going towards this program, from my understanding, it seems like it's either you're going towards academia, because I'm in sports marketing and I'm looking to stay in sports marketing. Would that be it? Because I'm looking to get into more of like the VP side of it. I've been here in the sports industry for 5 years. So would love to be able to understand a little bit more if what intel
Yeah, I
would help.
mean, we accept individuals interested in marketing. We have a marketing strategy seminar that's offered by one of our senior faculty, Alex Shu. He just got done teaching that seminar. And I could always partner you up with him, for example, with research and so forth, sports marketing. The issue is we're a strategy-oriented program. So if you're planning, if you want to be in a marketing-oriented program or a sports management-oriented program, we're probably not the right fit for you. But if you're more interested in the strategy side of things, like marketing strategy, even sports management is strategically oriented, you could do that. I don't see that. And we do have, marketing strategy is strategy, so
Yeah.
that would be fine, but again, it really, if you decide to apply to our program, your statement of purpose, your one pager, should really highlight why you're interested in our program. And, I think, sports management's definitely be strategy, but if you're looking for just a broad like marketing program or sports management program, you're probably not going to get what you want out of our program if you go in those particular directions. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have my bachelor's in marketing and I have my master's in sports and business administration, and I've been working in sponsorship, project management, brand engagement, and stuff. So definitely interested in that
Marketing
stuff.
strategy.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you could partner me up with that,
Yeah. I
I would
mean,
love to connect with him and learn more about it.
sure. just, you can send me an email or send Anna an email. We'll be happy to do that.
Okay, definitely will.
Okay, everybody, any more? One last question, anything?
What embedded software do you utilize for your research? SPSS or primary Excel-based work or?
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble understanding. Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah, of course. Which software do you take your students through for research analysis? Do you use SPSS or primarily
Oh.
stay in Excel?
um, it's gonna depend on the class. Like, I use SPSS. Nobody really uses SPSS anymore. Everybody uses Strata. It's at least in academia nowadays, or SAS still. But I've never been good at programming, so I always liked SPSS because I basically playing video games. It's going to depend on the seminar. Your quantitative class, she doesn't use any of those. She uses, but I can't really answer your question because the quantitative course where we would be training you to, like in logistic regression, OLS, basic clustering analysis, correlation, factor analysis, these type of things. We're going to modify that seminar. It's going to be different from this year, but this year she used a different program. But I'm wanting to go to one of those programs that you mentioned. So it's sort of a work in progress right now. And I don't know, to be honest with you. But for all the other seminars where you do analysis, you have access at our school to, I believe, SAS and SPSS, maybe Strata too. We'll get you whatever you need to be successful. And it's going to depend on seminar to seminar. But for the methods courses, you have a qualitative methods course. The quantitative methods course, we're currently changing how that is going to be taught. So I can't really answer your question about that. But hopefully SAS or SPSS, maybe Strata, will be what's taught in that course moving forward. Anyhow. Okay, everybody. Well, I've taken, oh my, we're over time. Wow. All right. Well, thank you for your time. And if you have any further questions or would like to interact with us, communicate moving forward, just send Anna an email. She's very helpful, wonderful lady, keeps me going every day. And you can always communicate with me as well. I'm going to be a little bit slower because I get hundreds of emails every day, but I'll always try to get back with any questions you might have for us. If some of the concerns tend to be, for example, does the program fit with what I'm trying to do? Do I fit with the program? The easiest thing to do is just send Anna your CV. She'll send it over to me and we can take a quick look and let you know, sort of if you're in the ballpark or not. But other than that, thank you very much. I wish everybody a wonderful fall and have a wonderful week as well. Okay. Take care and see you later. All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
You too. Bye-bye.